Welcome everybody to a Man in the Shed podcast. My name is Kirk Ritchie and I am the Man in the Shed. Big apologies for not being around for the last couple of weeks since I did the podcast with Paul Faley at Three Bridges. Work's just been manic and I haven't had the time to sit in the shed and actually dedicate some time to you wonderful people. So I can only apologise, but I'm back. Before we get started, let's say our hellos and let's say our thank yous. Hello to everyone out there. Massive thanks to, as per normal, Tim Berrington, the chief designer and clothes wearer from FCK Couture. Absolute legend, top bloke. If you want to go and get some garments from him, get online, buy some stuff. He's got some good rave wear, and I would love nothing more than going out for a rave. Massive shout out to everyone at BDO. You know who you are. Tom, keep fighting a good fight, brother. I want to say a massive shout out to all the people that I used to work with at Reach PLC. I hope you're doing well, Mike Adamu. Yeah, just shout out to everyone on Facebook for sharing the love. If you're watching us on New to the Tube, you will see that I've got my wonderful daughter Grace, and Daniel Ritchie. Say hello.
Hi. Hi. Hi, amigos.
So they wanted to come onto the podcast today, and they wanted to talk about football. Yeah. But I want to go a little bit deeper. They're going to be on it for about sort of 5-10 minutes, and then I want to tell them to go away, and then I'm going to get on with what I want to talk about. So Daniel.
Yeah.
In as quickly as you can do,
yeah.
Why do you love football so much?
I don't know.
I can come up with an actual explanation.
It's going to be a bit of a dodgy podcast, mate, if you don't know why you love football.
I can come up with an actual explanation. I just think that football, I think it's one of the best sports in the world. I think it's fun to get out of the house and do stuff. I think that it's one of the best sports in the world, how it's mostly popular and stuff.
Excellent, thanks, Grace. So
Daniel,
do you want to now tell people why you like football so much?
Yeah, I like slide tackling people. It's really funny when they get hurt.
Well, that's stupid, mate. You shouldn't go out to try and hurt someone on a football pitch. You should go out there and try and play football.
I got another explanation. I also think that when you like instead of sitting on your your PS5s or phones and stuff, this includes parents. Go out there, kick a bit if you had children. Go play a little bit of football. Go to park. Go to anything you want. And yeah, just go around instead of sitting on your phones or watching the telly and stuff.
Brilliant, thanks. Right, in you go, you two. Say goodbye to everyone on the podcast.
Bye. Goodbye. Have a great day. And happy Easter.
There you go. Good girl, Grace. Right, there we go. So, thank you very much to the Ritchie family. Really appreciate your time and efforts and energy. If you managed to get past 3 minutes and 20 seconds of the podcast, I really appreciate you sticking with me. I want to go on and talk about facing your fear and how we as people go about facing fear. Now, I'm scared of a couple of things. I don't know if I've mentioned in the past that clowns absolutely scare the heebie-jeebies out of me. They really, really do. I'm also pretty scared of the dark, so me sitting in my shed with a light on, having to walk the 20 yards to my house kind of scares me, because I'm thinking to myself, there might be someone in the back garden just watching me walking to my house, and that scares me. And the other thing that I'm really, really scared about is the dentist. And this goes back to when I was a kid. I had a dentist by the name of Jackie Hatton, and she was brutal, you know what I mean? There's not like the dentists nowadays, and they were absolutely brutal for us. And I remember I had my jaw broke in 4 different occasions, and it wasn't her, but she obviously sort of said, oh, go and get your jaw broke, your teeth, you got an overbite. Long story short, she battered me, and ever since then I hated the dentist. So I've got a really dodgy tooth, and half of it fell out, so I had to go to the dentist. Now I'm the kind of guy that I have to be sedated like a gorilla for anything that I'm having done. And so if I'm having a filling, if I'm having a tooth taken out, anything, I have to be sedated. I remember I go to Pembroke over in Crawley, and they're absolutely brilliant. And they know that I'm a big baby, and they know that I'm obviously scared of them. But this wonderful, wonderful man, he's from Greece. We got talking, and he was telling me that he understands my fear because he has to go back to Greece every 6 months to get his hair cut, because when he was a kid, he had his ear cut by a barber, and ever since then, he has the fear of going to a hairdresser. So he goes back to the barber that looked after him after he had his ear chopped. Which makes me feel a little bit better about me. But fundamentally, we've all got a little bit of a fear. And I had to get up. I had to be brave. I had to be a big, brave boy and sit in a dentist chair all on my own, because Kellyanne, who normally would take me, wasn't available. John Grumps, who sadly is no longer with us, who would also be my chaperone. As I say, he's up in heaven looking down on us. Tracy and Mum. Tracy was working and Mum was, I can't remember where Mum was. I think she was at home, but she had something on. But anyway, I had to go. I had to be brave, and I did it, and I faced my fear, and I hated it, but in the same breath, I did it, and it then got me thinking with reference to like serious things, and I always used to fear dying, and it's something that's always going to happen to every single one of us. But dying was one of these sort of fears that you couldn't control, and it used to get into my head, and I used to think about it, and as I got older and got married and had kids, the fear of not seeing my kids grow old, the fear of me and Tracy not growing old together, that scares the heebie-jeebies out of me, and it makes me quite sad. But it makes me realise that rather than fearing dying, I should start enjoying living. Which is easier to say, but it's so true. You know what I mean? Don't fear what you can't control. You know what I mean? I can control my mood. I can control how I talk to my wife and my kids. I can control how I react in certain situations. I can't control the fact that one day I will not be on this earth anymore. Obviously, the legacy of Kirky's Corona quiz or a Man in the Shed podcast, or I'm sure something else is going to happen. But I can control all of those. What I can't control is dying. But what I can do is I can not face that fear, but I can embrace that fear in making sure that every single day that I'm on this earth, I'm trying to give it my all, and I'm trying to enjoy it, and I'm trying to be the best me that I can be, because at the end of the day, that's all we ever ask for. And I'm not perfect. I'm close, but I'm not. I do have a broken big toe, which bends a funny way. But apart from that, I'm pretty near on like Mr. Perfect from WWE. He jests, but it does get me thinking with reference to facing fear. All these different things that people are scared of, and what we do, what you do to combat it. And I had a relative that didn't like going outside, and it was a fear of his, and I can't even remember what it's called, but he didn't like going outside, and it got me thinking that, well, it actually got me thinking back to lockdown, the first lockdown, when it was beautiful and sunny, and I know that it was a very weird time of all of our lives, you know what I mean, to go back and say that actually the first lockdown was probably one of the happiest times of my life. I had my kids, as I've said before, I had my kids, I had my wife, I knew that they were safe, and that fundamentally is all that I cared about. But to have that fear of going outside, to actually going into the world, you know what I mean, it's where do you go from there? And I know that times are completely and utterly different now, that you can get on and you can survive living online and living in the metaverse, but why would you want to? You mean there's nothing better than going outside when the sun finally comes and smelling freshly cut grass. Obviously, if you suffer from hay fever, it's an absolute crap time of the year for you. But for us who don't, it's lovely. That smell, the smell of a barbecue, give me that smell any day over what feels like 6 months worth of rain that we've had, and it's just horrible. I was working today and I was watching the rain coming down. I can't remember a winter like this. But the best thing about it is, come the middle of June or July, they're going to be saying that we got a drought because the rain was the wrong type of rain. It was rain that went sideways, or it was rain that went up. It wasn't the rain that fills the reservoirs. And you just look at it and you go, it's mad. You know what I mean? Is Mother Nature, has she had enough? Or him? You know what I mean? We always say Mother Nature is her. But has Mother Nature finally had enough and gone, right, you lot, you don't start fixing up, I'm going to continue doing this? Is it too late? You know what I mean? Have we gone too far down the rabbit hole with reference to climate change and the ozone layer? I remember when I was at school about spraying deodorant and hairspray, and you couldn't spray it for ages and all that lot. And again, very weird times, but that was many years ago. So that fear, so that facing your fear and grabbing it with both hands and making the most out of it, that's the bit that I gives you the adrenaline. You know what I mean? That is the bit that you really push forward. And it's like I say to Tracy, you know what I mean, she hates job interviews, which is handy because she's got a really good job and she loves the people that she works with at BDO. But I love an interview. I love going for job interviews, and maybe I should prepare a little bit more for them. But you know what I mean, I love my job that I've got at the moment. But people that fear job interviews, I'm like, you're just talking. All you're doing is talking. You know what I mean? You're telling a story. You're just telling them what's on a bit of paper or on a computer screen. Why are you fearing that? But they do. I know that you know what I mean, it's not a fear, but as I've said on numerous occasions, I absolutely hate losing and detest it. And the one thing that I hate is when people don't give their all, be it in work, be it in life, because we're so fortunate to be here. And we need to start remembering that actually it could be a million times worse. You know what I mean? It really could be. And we need to remember that we are the lucky ones. You know, we're the ones that get to walk this earth. We are the ones that get to, you know what I mean, if you want to have a beer, you have a beer. Do you know what I mean? If you want to pick up the phone and speak to your pals and have a chat, you can do that. And never forget that. Never forget that we are the lucky ones. I go back to, I think, being 42 and growing up when I did. We had the best clubs, we had the best music. You watch all these documentaries now about Fatboy Slim when he took over Brighton and how good that was. I remember going to Iron Appa, Ibiza, 2005. Gary Michael Payne, how you doing out there? But I don't even know what Ibiza's like now. You know what I mean? Are the clubs still there? It's crazy, you know. And we had that on tap every year. It was just a given. You went to the Malias, you went to the Ibizas, you went to the Iron Appas, and you embraced and you created this wonderful world and these great memories that we have. And we need to go back to embracing fear and not being scared of it. That being said, I'm not going to go and have my tooth taken out without being sedated. So me embracing fear can go and jump off a cliff. I'm not going to have it. I will still be sedated, and I will still be asking somebody to come and pick me up from St Faith's in East Grinstead, because I am a big baby when it comes to the dentist. But I'm getting there with the fear, with the dark. You know what I mean? I'm getting there. Clowns still won't. That's never going to change for me. I'm still going to be scared of clowns, and I'm always going to be scared of them, because you just never trust a clown. Because even though they've got a smile in their face, you don't know whether inside their heart they're happy or sad. And you never trust a clown. And I think that's it's a life lesson right there. That's a life skill right there. So I wanted to talk about two things. One was about facing fear, and if you're still with me, brilliant. The second thing is about the ability to let things go. Okay. Now, I've spoken a couple of times about how I view people coming at you, people talking at you, the stresses of life being like a link on a chain that's around your neck. The more that you have, the more that the heavier that they get and stuff like that. And if you don't learn to let go of this stuff, then it will just weigh you down, and at the end of the day you will collapse, and that'll be the end of you. I wrote something down when I was on the, well, I say wrote, I texted myself, because that's what you do in 2020. What were we in? 2020, yeah, 2023. I texted myself on the train, yeah, like one of them youngsters, one of them hippity hoppities. And I'm not obviously reading it because I'm videoing myself on the phone as we speak, so that was a bit stupid of me not to send it to myself. But when something along the lines like this, and this comes from my beautiful wife Tracy, it's don't be afraid to write anything down. Okay, so if you are having a stressful time, if you are feeling up against it, if you feel that, you know what I mean, life is getting too much for you, you know what I mean, write yourself a letter. And really be brutal about it. Really just pen everything that you're feeling. You know what I mean? The love, the hate, the despair, the despising of other people, the fear. Do you know what I mean? Write it all down. You know what I mean? Get it out there. And then once you've written it down, you've got 2 or 3 different things that you can do. Okay? You can keep it, and you can refer back to it for when you are feeling happier or you're not feeling happy. You know what I mean? If you write a letter about how happy you are, you got to remember that there will be a time when you're not going to be as happy as you are now. So you need to realise that when you're up, you will come down. But when you come down, there's an opportunity and there's a possibility that you're going to go back up again. So you've got it, so you leave it, and then you store it, and then you go back to it. The other one that I have is you write it down and you really air what you want to get out there, and then you burn it. I mean, you do a big ceremony if you really want to. You know what I mean? If that's what's going to make you feel better inside yourself. You know what I mean? Write it down, read it, remember it, and then burn it. Because the way that I like to visualize that is you are literally burning, and everything's sort of going and flowing up into the sky. You know, especially if it's a negative letter, especially if it's one of doom and gloom. You know, I mean, hopefully by you writing it down and you airing it, and you saying to yourself, you know what I mean, I hate my life, I hate everything about it, I've got no partner, I've got no kids, I'm in a job I hate, blah 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 blah. But you're here. You know what I mean? Combat it with something positive. You know what I mean? You're here. And you may have that one friend, as we've discussed. You know what I mean? You may have that one friend who you can rely on, who you can talk to, who you can reach out to. Be it going for a game of cards, a game of pool, you know what I mean, a game of darts, or whatever. You know what I mean? Reaching out to these people, but don't forget it. So write it down. Be brutal, because if you can't be brutal with yourself, how in the world are you going to evolve and get better? At the end of the day, I'm brutal about myself every day, and I know that I want to be a better person than I am now. There's a homeless person that sits just outside East Croydon station, and every day I feel really bad about walking past him, and I know that there will be a time when I'm going to drop a couple of quid into his pot, and maybe, you know what I mean, ask him if he wants some clothes, because why wouldn't he want a man in a shed hoodie to keep himself warm in at night? But I think sometimes you've got to reach out to these people, and not to make you feel better. No way. But it's giving back. It's paying it forward. But I go back to that letter. You know what I mean? Write it. Be brutal. Be honest. You know what I mean? Even if you are sitting on top of the tree and you're like, life's brilliant, I love it. You know what I mean? I've got a beautiful wife. I've got beautiful kids. I've got a massive house. I've got a Porsche. I've got a BMW. I go on 4 holidays a year. Job's great. I'm earning so much money. Blah 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 blah. You don't know what might happen tomorrow. You might not wake up tomorrow. Yeah. So remember to live. Yeah. You know, enjoy it. Don't become one of them arrogant idiots that gloat and shove it in your face. You know what I mean? Be humble with it. You know what I mean? Well played. You know what I mean? Well done. Bravo. I mean, you're one of the lucky ones. You know what I mean? You did it. You know what I mean? You beat the rat race. You know what I mean? Well done. Comes with its own flaws. It comes with its own pressures. And we need to make sure that we remember that, as I said, enjoy the good, block out the bad. You know what I mean? Work hard, play hard. We've got some bank holidays coming up, so maybe reach out to some friends. Maybe see if you can organise a game of football. Obviously not in this weather, because there's no pitches available. All the AstroTurfs are booked up. And my lads who I manage, bless them, they come training every Wednesday, wind, rain or shine. knowing full well that the pitches are not going to be playable, but they keep turning up and they keep coming back. And sometimes that's all that it's about. Just turn up and be the best you can be. Deliver your results, and be positive in life. See if you can have that positive outlook in life, and just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. That's all I've really got for you guys. It really is. It's again, it's an absolute pleasure doing this. It's therapy for me, as I've said on numerous occasions. Be good to yourself. Be good to other people. Don't beat yourself up too bad, because good days are coming. And also don't pat yourself on the back too hard, because bad days might be around the corner. And I go back to what my old girl used to say, just be kind and be nice to each other. Let's just start with that. Let's start with that and then see where that takes us. So I hope you all have a great weekend, and I hope that you enjoy and embrace being around your friends, your family, your loved ones. If you're having a drink tonight, be safe. If you're staying in, enjoy it, be sensible. But most importantly, do it with a smile on your face. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Kirk Ritchie, and I am the man in the shed. Ta-ra.